Gundam.tk presents Reborn's Gundam. Hey everybody, and welcome to my review of the much anticipated Reborn's Gundam, high grade from 00 Gundam. Of course, anybody who has watched the anime knows that in addition to this being the Reborn's Gundam, on the back it has the unique feature of actually transforming into the Reborn's cannon. Take a look at the preview of my review where I take a look at the box, the instruction manual, and you can see the plastic runners. Now that I've got this all built up, just a few things to note. I think the yellow was fantastic. It's not too bright, but it's understated enough that it stands out without overpowering the rest of it. And for the clear parts, you're going to have to make some decisions on what to paint, and I'll show you what I did. Now here's a look at the stickers after the fact. These two go on the front vents on the chest of the Gundam, and these go on the back or the front waistskirt of the cannon itself. These black lines are used to add a real bit of depth, and I think it works really well around some of the white parts. And these two strips go on the front of the shins of the cannon. And of course you've got the green camera for the cannon and the cannon's eyes, and then that goes on the front of the Gundam and the Gundam's eyes. But you'll see here that there are two purple parts, one for the jewel and one for the actual chest. But I decided that I wanted to paint those clear parts rather than use the stickers. According to the color guide, if you want to make purple for the chest and for the jewel on the top of the forehead, what you're supposed to do is mix 75% blue, 20% clear, and 5% red. So if you have any of the other 00 kits, you probably have a clear blue and clear red already, but I went out and I bought some clear. And I think if you dilute it, it's important, and maybe I should have done a little bit more. But basically, with the clear parts, what you do is you mix it, and then all you have to do is just paint on the excess parts here until you get sort of the purple you want. So at first it was too light, so then I made it a little bit purple. But what happened was, is even though it looks a little bit clear here, by the time I put two coats on, it turned very purple. So here are the purple parts on my armless Reborn's Gundam. And though it doesn't come across that great in the video, when light and sun shines off of it, you really do see the purple. So I'm glad that I decided to paint that rather than go with the stickers, especially since it only cost me another $1.50 to get the clear paints. And the jewel also looks a fair bit better off for it. My only regret about the painting is that it may have come out a little bit too dark. Maybe I could have used a little bit more clear. But the other thing was is that when I was debating about what color to paint the beam saber, because I'd have to get different paints to mix this into the orange that they recommend, I decided to use up my purple and paint the beam sword in the same color as the jewel. Now that's very Mace Windu-ish, I thought, and it doesn't look bad. It sort of suits the Gundam overall. But in hindsight, maybe I wish I had painted it orange instead. So what do you get once you put it all together? Well, very simply put, you're going to get the two engines / cannons that you're going to put onto the back, and these have a place to attach the beam saber. You're going to get a shield. You're going to get the chest section with the thruster / cannon on the back. You're going to have the waist section, 2 legs and 2 feet, which are difficult to take apart, so I won't. 2 arms with the shoulder attached, 2 fists for the Gundam, 2 fists for the cannon, and a very cool looking beam rifle. And of course, you get 2 different heads, one for the cannon, one for the Gundam itself. For a rundown of the parts, starting with the back, you'll see that there's just a single hole here where these are going to attach onto the back of the chest, one on each side, so that gives you the effect of the 4 cannons. And these parts are easy to spin around. They go this way for the Gundam, this way for the cannon, and of course they can launch off to go and attack Setsuna. Now these parts move independently up here and independently down there, and in addition to that, the top one is able to pivot side to side. So a fair bit of mobility there, and the beam saber tucks in when you put it into Gundam mode. The shield is cool, but something you should paint if you want to make it look awesome, because this pulls out on both sides, and the inside here should be gray as well as the back. So if you're a good painter, you can level up that for sure. Now the beam rifle for me is a real winner here. It's got No problem putting this into the hand, and you seal it into place, giving it just a little bit more bulk, and then you slide it forward when you put it into the Canon mode and put it on the front, even though it looks a little bit short. But put some black lining in there, and I think that this looks really well put together. Now, I painted my beam saber in purple, which I regret a little bit, as I said, but the saber itself looks good. It's a simple 2 parts, but it has more detail than a regular one. One thing to be careful of, though, is that you might want to cut off the extra sprue after lining it, because I cut it off first and then some of the ink ran into that, so be careful. Now, I've got the legs here as one piece, but overall they have a lot of fantastic details to them. The first thing that I liked is that these black lines here, you don't have to line, because once you start lining something that wide, you'll find that sometimes it starts to fade over time, unless you do some proper top coating. But in this case, you just put in a sticker, and I just used a toothpick just to get it in there properly, and it stayed no problem. I put some lining on here, not very deep grooves, and on the back, when you see I review the Reborn's Canon, I'm very impressed with these. The fangs stand out, and even though these are stickers, it doesn't take away from anything. Now, the same thing on the thighs here. This is a white piece, and you put on a black sticker on each side. And again, I think that just gives it the extra pop. Now, the knees of the Reborn's Gundam are showing that these high grades are becoming more and more master grade-like every day. There's a joint in here and a joint down there, and this is on a swivel point that you're able to put inside. So if you look here at the bottom of the knee, you'll see that it extends and that the bottom white part gets hidden. And you're also able to bring it forward like this, and it doesn't get in the way at all, and you're able to bring it almost 90 degrees forward and then backwards, no problem at all. So very impressive knee construction. And the feet are just as great. You'll see down here, this part doesn't move, which I'm actually happy about. Sometimes that can get in the way, nor does the back part. But the feet are on the 00 type of mountings, and of course you'll just pull this down and stretch this out to make them into the cannon. And they don't get in the way of each other at all. And because you have these straight lines, you're still able to pull off a fairly balanced pose to the Reborn's Gundam. The chest section is the other real winner of the Reborn's Gundam for me. It has a detached lower part, so you're able to get some mobility here, mostly front and back, not so much off to the side. And these are stickers, and though I didn't put them on perfectly, I still think they look pretty good. I already told you that I chose to paint this rather than use the sticker, because you would have had a sticker just covered by a clear part. And though the clear part might have added some the illusion of depth, I like the rich color of this. The shoulders themselves have a unique twist. You're able to pull them out a little bit, and they just have a little pinch part up here. So when that's inside, they stay on firmly. But now they come out, and you can get more mobility once you turn it into cannon mode. Around the back, you have a thruster that reveals itself once you pull down the lower part, a little bit of mobility there, and 2 parts where you put this on. My only real complaint is that this is where you're going to put on the cannon head, and of course the Gundam head goes on here. And this pushes in, so you're actually supposed to push the front part down to hide the Gundam head when it's in the back. But I find that that's a little bit hard to put down. I can't really say enough good things about these heads. Simple sticker here. I chose not to paint that, but I think the cannon head looks great. But the real winner, of course, is the Gundam head. It's got all the menace that the original Gundam didn't, and even though it's missing some yellow trim, if you're a good painter you could add that on, but I think it looks fantastic overall. Don't forget to check out my reviews and see the cannon and the Gundam all put together. Thanks for watching, everybody.